Hello YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. If anyone knows me, I'm passionate about one thing, and that is rubbing my nipples. But that is not today's topic. Today's topic is something that I want to talk about, is something quite nostalgic to me, something that will apply to everybody else here if they do know the term or the name. And that name, of course, is called MS-DOS. Now, of course, I would consider this one of the most hugely underrated platform for operating and playing video games. I mean, yes, some people will point out the Commodore Amiga. Everyone will point out these classic other computer operating systems such as the, Atari 400 or anything in between, but for me, MS-DOS was my childhood. I mean, yes, I had the Sega Genesis, yes, and Nintendo, but they didn't have demos. They didn't have these simple, easy ways to try out these new and interesting games. But the graphics were not superb, they were not amazing, they were not as sharp sometimes as the Sega Genesis until much later on 1993, 1994. You saw the computers really pumping out the graphics, turning the consoles a little bit on their head. I mean, yes, you had computer games that couldn't pretty much almost outdo the N64, the PlayStation 1 at almost at that point. But, to me, it was just such an awesome era, that being able to see from the 8-bit to the 16-bit to the 32-bit to the 60, the true 3D graphics, the polygons, all this stuff combining together. It was an interesting age growing up, especially with the computer. However, again, the computer age that I remember was MS-DOS, and it was just such a awesome and simple to use process. Now, I'm actually kidding. It was a little tricky to use when back in the day. I mean, saying it was easy, I mean, if you got the, command, is it CD space, whatever the command is, and which was change directory, which was CD, and, you put in the game, and then you loaded that up, and then you pretty much played it from there. And that was just an awesome thing to do. It was kick-ass, at least to me. And, nowadays you have stuff such as, DOSBox, easier ways to able to access games. And most of these older games that get reissued through a form of emulation, as some people call it, corporate emulation, RRR. But no, it's, the ways that they can be able to allow you to distribute and play these games, even on modern computers. It still shows that a lot of these classic games, such as from the MS-DOS days, are amazing, even to this date, even though most people do not realize it, or in this case they did move on to a different platform, is that MS-DOS was the basis next to C++, all these special programming methods. I mean, you could probably describe how Windows 7 works to me, and there's so many different chemicals behind that alchemy project that your head will explode in minds in two. But again, what is your favorite nostalgic moment from the computer gaming age, or from consoles? Because if you did not ever play computing or anything in between, what was your childhood? Because for me, MS-DOS was my childhood no matter what. I mean, yes, the consoles were there, they were the twinkle in my eye, but it was just something unique being able to play on the MS-DOS platform, especially when you had the 386 to 486, you had the the tandy looking screen, the orange and the black only. It was just a wild time, I would have to say. I mean, when I go back to it now, I mean, I can still go back to it now through this computer, don't get me wrong. So, I mean, it isn't like I can't visit that era again, but it was just such a interesting and learning time for me, I would have to say. But, that's enough for me from right now. Again, share your thoughts down below. Whee!